Dealership News followers, this is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach, and today's vlog is all about one of the fundamental pillars that helps your dealership grow and thrive: open communication. All right. Now, communication is extremely important. Doesn't matter if you're senior level leadership like a dealer principal or GM or a frontline staff. Communication is critical to your success, and here's why. If you're a senior level leadership, you don't necessarily have line of sight to some of the things going on at the frontline staff level. And when those things that are happening could cause you to, number one, limit your business, cause harm to your dealership. If you don't have open channels of communication, you will not receive that information and cause you to crash. On the front line, right, if you're a frontline staff, your level of success is directly related to your ability to communicate with your management team, because you're going to have to know when to take direction, take coaching, and know when to follow and know when to step up and lead. And you can't receive that direction unless you can communicate effectively. So that's why this is so important. So today I'm going to talk about a few of the things that at the manager level that they do to limit communication, as you see a little communication close sign in the background, and also a few things that frontline staff people do that ultimately sever these ties in communication. And this has been gathered from hundreds of meetings with groups of managers and salespeople. So that's where this information comes from in today's vlog. So first off, managers, guys, when you tell employees to stay stupid, all right, I know that's a saying in the auto industry. We tell them to stay stupid because we don't want them to know too much because they might mess up or give it all away or whatever. Guys, when you tell them to stay stupid, then essentially they might be asking that question for a reason. They might be wanting to grow. They might do a better job if they understood the why behind their question. So instead of telling them to stay stupid, sit down with them afterwards and help them hash out the information they need, okay? Number two, shutting them down. I know that they're going to approach you in a certain way and they're going to act out in a certain way, your employees, right? Sometimes they're going to do something and you're like, why did they just do that? They should already know that. I know it gets frustrating, but instead of shutting them down and saying you should already know this, right? Again, let's revisit, figure out why they don't know it and give them the communication they need to grow, all right? Beyond that, what about telling them to come to you with a problem? Right? Don't come to me with a problem unless you have a solution. What about that one? Guys, you know, how many times have you had to ask your boss or your parents or a mentor for help because you didn't know the answer? What if they said, don't come to me without a solution? You may have heard that in the past, okay? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we don't know what we don't know. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't put forth effort to solve our own problems. But my point is, if we shut them down, if we don't let them come to us without a solution, then ultimately we might be robbing ourselves of our own ability to solve a major issue, okay? Now let's go to the frontline staff. That's just a few of the things managers do that sever communication between themselves and their employees. But on the front line, there's things you guys can do. First off, if you're coming across as negative and whiny all the time, like if you're always complaining about something or other to your managers, that might frustrate them. They might get annoyed by it, especially if they like keeping a positive attitude and keeping the morale of the team high. If you're always coming to them whining and being negative, then that will deter them from communicating with you. Also, handouts. I know that you feel overworked and underpaid, all right? But if you're always like this, give me something, I don't have enough, then they will also shut you down. Why? Because that gets frustrating. Dealer principals avoid their showroom because they're fearful people are always going to come up to them like that. Guys, if you're going to ask for something, give something in return, right? Take on more responsibility or talk about how you will leverage that to improve the business. But just don't always be randomly asking for handouts, all right? And then also thirdly is credibility, right? How much credibility do you have? If you're the frontline employee that always cries car deal when there isn't one, you're going to damage your credibility. And then people are going to stop taking you seriously. And as a result, they stop listening to you. Thus, your communication breaks down. And that can ultimately halt communication. And both sides, doesn't matter if you're a manager or a salesperson, both sides, what you guys can do is listen first, all right? The Chinese symbol for listening actually means like 10 eyes, because you're listening with all you're intently focused on who's talking. And it's also a heart because you're listening with your heart and your soul. We should listen with every bone in our body. And that's the law of reciprocity. If we listen to them first, they'll listen to us back. So I think that this is extremely critical. Open channels of communication will help your dealership thrive and continue to grow and get to the next level and prevent you from crashing into potential roadblocks, all right? And it's really important that you follow through these tips to help your dealership communicate better. My friends, this is Sean Kelley vlogging on behalf of Dealership News. Looking forward to our next conversation.